What's up, guys? Derek, moreplatesmoredates.com. I want to make a quick video on what I think are the top 3 places to meet women. And this is, even if you have no friends, the title is, a bit misleading because I don't just mean if you have no friends. Like, let's say you move to a new area and you literally don't know anybody. Like, that's another situation in which it might be kind of overwhelming and you wouldn't even know where to start in terms of building a social circle or meeting women, especially if you're used to getting them handed to you on a silver platter throughout social circle meetups and parties and whatnot. So let's just say you're in either situation where you don't really know anybody, you're in a new area, you're sort of introverted, you don't have any friends to begin with. I think these are the top 3 places to meet people. And typically places like clubs, just to disclose, I feel are extremely overrated. Reason being, the likelihood of a club being right within walking distance of your place, typically very low. There's usually, the loudness of the music is a huge inhibiting factor of having a fluid conversation is another thing. And in general, when girls go out to clubs, they're in bigger groups and they're typically traveling from further away and have some sort of plan to go back with their friends, with their friend group, and it's just a lot less likely they're going to break off from the group. At least in my experience, all the good clubs are downtown usually, unless you have a spot literally in the heart of downtown or wherever the clubs are at in your area. You can easily, invite people back for a drink or whatever, and break them off from the group and then, go back later or whatever the plan is. Typically clubs are subpar in terms of efficiency, in my opinion, and just like overall being able to meet people. Even, making friends in general at clubs is harder because you can't use your social skills as much. It's more physical game sort of than verbal. So even if you've developed, your social freedom over the years and have great conversation skills, you're pretty limited in what you can do at clubs. So anyways, I'm not a huge fan of clubs, if you can't tell. The top 3 places, in my opinion, are first, on campus. So obviously this is going to depend largely on if you're a student or not, or if you're an alumni or whatever, if you have a reason to be there. Some people are going to be comfortable with going there even if they aren't a student, which is good. You should be comfortable going wherever you want by yourself, regardless if you feel stupid or not. You shouldn't. I've gone back to my post-secondary school to, get work done. Sometimes it's just a more chill environment. And when I did attend there, it was just a lot more efficient because I was already there. But on campus, obviously a great place to meet people, especially if you're young, if you're in your early 20s or your late teens. You already know all the girls are in your age range. You already know that the likelihood of them being there without, like a clique around them is very high, as opposed to high school. Everyone's like lumped up into these groups. In university and college, well, it's a bit less likely in like a party school college, I guess, but I've never attended one. At least when I went to a commuter school, how it was there was a stupid amount of, attractive women there, and most of them were just, walking in class or chilling, eating their lunch or doing homework or studying or whatever. And like very often they're very approachable and there's not, a big group you have to like infiltrate and win over to be able to, talk to them without getting interrupted and whatnot. So I think campuses are a great place, and I think they're pretty underrated in terms of a lot of people think it's the parties where you get the girls. In terms of university and college, I think it's literally just on campus is where everything happens. And if you're a social guy who's able to approach women at will without having severe crippling social anxiety. So that's the first place, in my opinion. That's where I've had the most success, is on campus, walking to and from classes, in between classes when I have breaks. It was like a super efficient way to be on the fly and number collect, set up dates, etc. Second place, a bar close to your place. As I mentioned, unless typically living downtown is a lot more expensive than living further away from it. So I don't know what your living situation is, but typically it's a lot more cost effective to live near a popular bar than it is to live near a popular club, at least where I live. And I advise trying to find a bar within walking distance, ideally, that's popular, if you happen to live in that area, and that should be your kind of like go-to spot in terms of nightlife stuff. So that's your Friday, your Saturday nights. that's your perhaps even your date spot during the days when it's Monday through Thursday or whatever days you're free. Bar close to your place is the easiest place to set up sort of a consistent blueprint for going on dates or going up to meet, girls who are going to be way more open to talking, because you can actually, physically have a conversation with them rather than at a club. It's just basically all physical game and yelling in each other's ears where you don't even hear each other and pretending you know what each other are saying when it's actually not the case. So bars are my second favorite place. And I think becoming I don't want to say like a bar connoisseur or anything like that, but just becoming comfortable going to bars, even by yourself. Like if you have no friends, that's fine. Unless you're literally standing on a wall by yourself and looking awkward, no one's gonna, know or care if you're there by yourself, because you're going to be walking around and socializing. You can easily make friends at bars easily and build a social circle as you, communicate with women and hit on people and talk to dudes and whatever you want to do. It's a super easy way to build a social circle, social proof with girls, talking throughout the bar to other girls. And then even if you get rejected, you can literally recruit one as your wingman, which they usually think is super fun and cool, and they'll act like your best friend for the night and literally get girls for you. There's a lot of things you can do when you can actually have a conversation with people and they can hear you. So bars are my second favorite place, and that's a strategy I highly advise you employ too. If you hit on a chick and you get rejected, she has a boyfriend, she's not, whatever, almost something I had done before is create sort of a game where I'd say, okay, you're going to, be my wing woman for the night. Just like something that gets their mind out of the typical, every single person is there just being a wallflower or just standing there unless they're inebriated and dancing. Every single person, for the most part, has some level of social anxiety. So, most guys and girls are just standing around talking to their friends and just like being wallflowers. If you get a girl into a mindset of this like fun, unique thing that she's probably never done before, I guarantee she's going to be up for it, even if she just rejected you. Like if you're a cool, chill guy and a girl rejects you, she's not going to think you're a creep unless you come across as a creep. And very often they'll gladly act like your best friend for the night and literally hand girls to you on a silver platter just because they think it's fun and it's, something for them to do rather than sit around and chug beer on the wall with their friends. So that's something I advise you do. Go to bars close to your place. Third thing is not a specific place, but wherever you go during the day. So this is, literally probably the best tip, honestly, because what a lot of guys make a mistake doing is they go out and do like sarging and they go like set aside blocks of time to cold approach, when the way you should be doing it, ideally and in a time efficient way, is incorporating it into your everyday schedule. So if you're going to the grocery store, going to the mall, running errands, going to the post office, going to whatever, the likelihood of you crossing paths with attractive women is pretty high. Like honestly, you're probably going to see a decent amount on a daily basis, regardless of where you go at some point, unless you're a complete, I don't even know what to call it, hermit, where you don't go outside ever. Like you're going to have to leave your house at some point to go run errands. And when you run errands, you're going to come across attractive women. And this is where the efficiency comes in, because you can literally run your errands and simultaneously do your sarging / cold approaching during these errands, because it's very unlikely that you're going to go find more eligible people if you set aside a block of an hour to go like literally do it at a mall versus just incorporating into the errands you do anyways. Like I'm sure you've gone to grocery stores and been pissed at yourself because you didn't approach that cute girl you saw, or you're at the gym and you didn't, strike up a good conversation with that chick who you see however often, or you were at the mall and you were shopping, this chick who, was working there, you didn't, talk to her. Like I guarantee you've had a situation before that's pissed you off that you've been like, I should have, capitalized on that. That's probably the most efficient and best way, in my opinion, because you don't have to go. Obviously, if you're on campus, if you're a student, that's the best way to fire out this kind of technique, because it's literally like every like 30 seconds you see somebody who's attractive that you probably want to hit on. But during the daytime running errands, this is where social anxiety and approach anxiety is like, you need to have that handled, because if you're, walking around and then all of a sudden you see somebody random, you got to go right then. You don't, sit around and think, what do I say? What do I do? You just got to go in. And if you get very good and you can approach, 9 out of 10 women on the drop of a hat, if you can incorporate it into your daily life and never have to set aside time to go do, like approaching. It's just part of your everyday routine. This is what top guys do to, build strong rotations and get high lay counts. And those are my three, number one places in my opinion that, first of all, are efficient, have a high rate of return or return on investment or whatever for your time. And, just, you're going to meet high quality people. Like I'm not looking to meet people at clubs anyways that are long-term potential realistically. And obviously online dating is good too to supplement, but I'm just talking about in cold approach in general. This is like, those are the three things that I would incorporate, especially if you're young, like 18 to 23, 24. If you're older than that, you don't feel comfortable on campuses or whatever, because you don't actually go to the school or whatever, or you feel out of place because you don't have an excuse to be there, like, then just do the other two. But all three are very effective, and I highly advise you incorporate them into your daily life. And that's the key, is incorporating them into your daily life rather than setting aside blocks of time where you're going, like sarging with a group of buddies that, like if you need to go knock out approach anxiety and blow it out, then, go out with buddies and set aside time to do that. But once you can actually approach women, this should become an integrated thing into your life rather than something that's a chore that you have to go out of your way to do. So anyways, those are my tips. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplates.moredates.com. Subscribe there. Talk to you guys soon.